Business news from the Capital Region. This is Washington Business Report with ABC7 national correspondent Rebecca Cooper.
Thanks for joining us for a fresh look at business in the Washington region. Coming up, one of the most important voices in D.C. business is taking on a new adventure, literally. We'll find out why Mark Ein is investing more than $200 million in the adventure travel industry. And in our small business spotlight, we're calling in the coach, Washington Castle's Coach Murphy Jensen, to tell us how Ein and Coach Murphy make goals and keep them on and off the court in their surprisingly successful business venture. And in the roundtable, who will keep the lights on in Washington? We break down the Pepco-Exelon proposed merger and what it means for consumers and the Washington economy. Plus, we tackle trade and the business bottom line. It's a fight that's getting personal here in Washington and on the campaign trail. But first, our one-on-one interview today is with a man who is the owner of the Washington Castles, a serial investor, and clearly a risk taker. Now Mark Ein is entering the adventure travel market. His investment fund has made it official. It will take a stake in Lindblad Expeditions, Inc., one of the world's top adventure travel companies. And the dollar amount attached to that investment will take your breath away. Joining us now is the man headed on this adventure, Mark Ein. Welcome. And we should say, the big adventure, your wife could give birth at any moment. Sally, thank you for holding off until we got to do this show, but we don't know how long, so we won't try and keep you. Tell us about adventure travel.
Well, it's great to be here, as always, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we are taking a major stake in Lindblad Expeditions, which is an amazing company that's been around for 36 years. And it really capitalizes on the trend, I think, in society where people value experiences more than stuff. You know, and I think as everyone shares sort of how interesting their lives are on social media, everyone wants to live interesting lives and show people they want interesting lives. So the business opportunity to take people to some of the world's most amazing places, Arctic, Antarctic, Alaska, Galapagos, all these amazing places, is growing like crazy. And Lindblad's really the best in the world at doing it. And they have an amazing team, a really strong and important culture, and we're thrilled to be involved with them.
We're going to show some of the video of some of the different travel adventures that people can anticipate with this. But let's start with how you chose this company. You had an investment fund that you had raised the $200 million to go out and look for a company that you thought was worth investing in. You told me previously you had 350 that you looked at seriously. Take us through the process. How does a company get on your radar and make it through any stage of that process?
Yeah, so as you said, we literally looked at 350 companies over 2 years. And what you really try to do is find a company that does a couple things. One, that capitalizes on trends that you think are strong, enduring, long-term. So the whole psychographic thing that I talked about I think is good. Our target market is baby boomers, which is the biggest, fastest growing, wealthiest demographic group in history. So going after that, serving them is a really terrific business opportunity. You need a great team, and this team is as good as it gets. But then you also need a company that has barriers we call moats. What's the moat around the business? Why is there a franchise? Why can't anyone do this? And when you really look at what it takes to take people to these far-flung places where they love their experience and where the company can make money doing it is really, really hard. And they're the only ones who've ever been able to figure out how to do this at scale.
But, you know, I have to say it. You're in a position now, Mark, where you could kick back and just go on these adventures. You invested in this company and admitted to me you haven't gone on a single one, but you get excited when you look at the video. Spending that much money, what convinced you that even without trying it on yourself, you think that they had more than, say, a tech company? You've invested in a lot of successful ventures in the past. The Castle security system was one of your early success stories. Yeah. Why take on something that's a little more iffy than, say, investing in technology? Well,
I actually don't think there's anything iffy about this. Their track record is extraordinary. The financial returns, the profitability has more than doubled over the last 4 years. Revenue's doubled over 4 years. They operate at basically full capacity. So the whole thesis is we're buying a stake in the business and we're giving them money to go build new ships to fill this demand. So I actually don't view it as very risky. And, you know, at this stage, what I really want to do is be involved with businesses that I'm passionate about, that I like the people. And in this one, actually, also, I think we can do some good, because what happens is when you take people to these places, they recognize how fragile our environment is, how fragile our planet is, and they actually get engaged in that cause. And we have a fund that then capitalizes on that, and people get engaged, and then we use that to educate and help conserve the environment. So doing something you love with people you love and making a difference, it doesn't get any better than that.
But you're still a businessman. You still want to see a return on your investment. One of the things you just said in the interview struck me because it's been written about in the Wall Street Journal and elsewhere, and that is that more and more surveys show that people's happiness comes from experiences and not things. That renovating the house or buying a new car is not going to make you as happy as going to the Galapagos. Did you see that research, and did that say to you as an investor, aha?
Yeah, well, so you kind of know it intuitively. You know that that's anytime people sort of get beyond their basic needs. At this point, they want experiences, and we actually saw the same scientific data. And what it is when you buy something, you get immediate happiness from it, but then you get used to having it around, and it goes away. Experiences stay with you forever. You can think about them in your mind. You can share them with your friends and your family. You can look at the pictures. They're much actually sort of counterintuitively, they're more enduring than actually material things, because the material things you kind of get used to. And so, yeah, we actually saw that study, and that confirmed what we already intuitively knew, that this is a trend that's here that we think is going to be profound for a long time into the future.
Give anyone advice if they were trying to approach someone with capital to invest. Who were some of the players that got through to you that were effective in their approach?
You know, I think the best thing, I think everyone in our shoes who sees a lot of plans, it's really a lot. Can you find someone who's a mutual acquaintance, a mutual business relationship, a mutual friend who can call and make the introduction? That's the best thing you can do. And we often think, it's more true in startups, but that actually going and getting people's attention and then convincing them to invest is sort of the first test, but it's indicative test of what you need to do if you're building a company, because you need to do the same thing to find customers or whatever.
So the personal relationship is still key in the investment
100%,
strategy.
because you see so much. The only way you can really triage and sift through that many is sort of what kind of credibility it has, and you need to have someone around it who is credible, or someone needs to know us mutually who says that you're credible.
We got to wrap so that we can get to the next segment with you and a special guest, but I have to ask you, you're in a sense investing in the economy, I think, because sure, if you've got that extra income, you may want to spend it on an experience rather than a thing, but if we hit another recession or any bumps in the road, luxury travel and adventure could be the first thing to go. Are you optimistic overall about the economy, or do you think this could overcome even bumps in the road in the economy?
Well, first of all, you would be a great investor, because we went on a roadshow and met with 50 investors, and I'd say in 80% of the meetings that question came up, and they said, what happened in the last recession? Interestingly, because we serve a slightly wealthier demographic and a little bit later in life, it's actually a lot more recession resistant than a lot. This is something people save up for. It's not a huge extravagance, and so in the last 2 recessions, this business actually performed really well. And that was something that was really important to us as well.
Got to save time for the next segment, but I'm hoping you get time to take one of these adventure travels. Stay tuned when we return. The one venture Mark Ein was prepared to be a money loser, but instead has proven to be both a business success story and a Washington success story. Mark's back along with a man whose combination of personality and talent has helped serve up the winning formula. That's after the break.